Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel if you are new. Hello, my name is V. I post nail tutorials every Thursday and Sunday at 8:15 a.m. Central Time. Getting right into today's video, I am doing a watch me work on my client's nails. I'm so excited that I finally get to do another one of these videos for you guys because they are very few and far and in between, so I'm really excited. Just getting right into it, I am using my e-file along with my Mandrel bit and a medium grit sanding band. These are super fine, so it will not damage the nail unless you have it at a very high speed and you're applying too much pressure. My e-file is at about 4,000 RPMs. That's what I like to do my prep work with. It is the perfect speed in my opinion. So I'm just going ahead and buffing off the shine of the natural nail, focusing on the cuticle area, and then lightly buffing off the rest of the nail. Now, throughout the video, you will see me working on one hand. I am kind of alternating depending on where I got a good angle when I was recording, so keep that in mind. If there's any repetitive steps, I do only do one hand as well. Once I'm done buffing the shine off, I'm actually taking my peel and stick file from Tammy. They are linked in my Amazon storefront, and I'm just trimming back her natural nail just a little bit. I did ask her if she wanted to keep it or if she wanted me to remove it, and she kind of said it was my choice. And because I am doing clear nails, I opted for at least trimming them just slightly, and that way it didn't show too much through that clear. So I'm just going in back and forth, just lightly filing that down because her skin kind of comes up a little bit. I didn't want to clip them off with a nail clipper. I'm honestly so scared to cut a client with anything other than my file. So I always try to use the easier alternative, which in my opinion is just lightly filing them down. Once I'm done trimming them and shaping them up a little bit, I am going in with my needle bit. It is linked in my Amazon storefront, my favorite and go-to, definitely recommend it. Again, I have my e-file at a speed of 4,000 RPMs, and I'm just going around the cuticle area trying to get rid of any excess skin that I might have left behind from the Mandrel bit. I 100% recommend these bits. They are life-saving. They really help when it comes to lifting. It minimizes it and it gets all the prep work done really well so you don't have any lifting. So definitely recommend them if you're having issues with lifting. Once I'm done with my needle bit, I'm going in with my cuticle ball bit. Again, a speed of 4,000 RPMs. Sometimes if I have a little bit of skin that is kind of complicated to get off, for the most part, it buffs right away off, but you will have those areas that are a little bit thicker. I do put my e-file up to 5,000. I will not go past that. I feel like 5,000 is my limit when it comes to any of my prep work. And for the most part, I only use it, like I said, if I have any stubborn little areas that I cannot buff off that dead skin or the dry skin. So I'm just going gently around that cuticle, removing any excess skin. It just helps the cuticle area look a lot more polished without having to nip off any skin from that area. Once I'm done with that, I'm going ahead and applying my tips. I am using the Not Polished Universal Tips for this video. And along with that, I'm using my Young Nails brush on glue. It is my go-to glue. I love that it has a little brush and it dries very, very quickly. So I'm just going ahead and applying that onto the very free edge of the nail and trying to get them on there as straight as possible. And then if I have any little areas that have any bubbles, I go ahead and just apply a little bit more glue on top of that and it fills it in nicely. Once I'm done applying all the tips, I am taking my scissors and I'm just cutting off the length that she wanted. She just wanted me to trim off the smallest amount. And as you can see, I'm basically just eyeballing it and cutting off that little bit of tip that she wanted removed. Once I'm done trimming off any excess length and cutting them all to the length that she wanted, I'm taking my Tammy Taylor file once again and I'm going to be shaping out these nails. She does prefer stiletto, so we're going to go ahead and shape them into the stiletto shape. Because these tips are already very narrow and pre-shaped in the shape of stiletto, it is a really easy process when it comes down to shaping them out. The less width that you have, the easier and quicker it's going to be. So even if you are cutting them to a shorter length, I definitely recommend these tips for stiletto and coffin shape. So I'm just going ahead and making sure that I'm going back and forth from right to left, left to right, and trying to get that tip as even as possible. All I do is imagine a kind of line down straight in the middle, and I try to file the sides to that point. And I'm constantly checking my work. I constantly go back and forth. I'll move the finger away from the file and kind of look at it from every angle to make sure that it is as straight as possible. I know there was one nail, for example, that I had kind of applied it a little bit crooked, and all you have to do is file one side a little bit more to straighten it out. So it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm just gonna go ahead and let you guys watch the rest of this process. Now, I did struggle a little bit recording this video. My phone decided to run out of storage, and then I switched over to my extra phone that I have at the salon, and the quality completely changed. So I did miss out on recording me filing the tip to the natural nail. You guys know I like to blend that out, especially on clients. So I did go ahead and blend the tip to the natural nail. Used my sanding band for that step, again at around 4,000 RPMs, just to blend it lightly. Once I was done with that, I went ahead and got a lint-free wipe and some swipe and started cleaning the natural nail. This helps remove any excess dust and dehydrate that natural nail from any excess oils that it might be producing, and it preps the nail very well for our primer. So I'm just going ahead and rubbing that into the natural nail. Definitely recommend swipe. It is my go-to. I absolutely love it. Once I'm done with that, I'm using the XXX Bond from Not Polish, and I'm switching over to this to try to test it out. You guys know I love my Profix from Profiles Backstage. So for your guys' sake, I am testing out the Not Polish primer to see if I like it and how it holds up. And I'll be keeping you guys updated on that whenever she comes back. So I'm just adding one coat of that first across all 10 nails. Just on the natural nail, that's all you want to apply, and then I'm doing the second coat. Once I'm done applying my primer, I'm going to go ahead and start my acrylic application. For today's video, I am using the Not Polish acrylic brush in the size 12. It's been my go-to lately. I think I got used to the bigger size already, so I don't know, maybe I'll try the bigger size next time. So I'm going ahead and using the Not Polish monomer as well. I received that recently, so again, I'm trying to use all the products combined together to kind of give you guys a good feedback on the products. So make sure you guys stay tuned for an updated video. But I'm going ahead and applying my acrylic. This is the Not Polish Clear Acrylic. And I'm just doing my normal acrylic application. She does like her nails very thick because she has them stiletto and because they are long. And she tends to be rough on her nails. So she always asks me to do them a little bit thicker. And if she needs me to add a little bit more acrylic, I always do that at the end. But for the most part, I feel like I've gotten the thickness down good for her liking. So I'm adding a medium-sized bead of acrylic near the natural nail and then blending it down toward the tip. Acrylic application on stiletto-shaped nails are so quick. I want to say I got her whole clear acrylic application down in like 20 minutes because it's just so skinny and there's less surface that you need to cover. It's so much easier. All you have to do is wipe the sides and try to keep that shape perfect, and there's no tip that you really need to worry about. So it definitely makes everything go a lot quicker. So I basically am using the 3-ball method for her nails. I find that that's the easiest, specifically when I'm trying to make her nails as thick as she likes them. And then if I feel like any little area needs a little bit more acrylic, I always can go in and add that. Again, a medium-sized bead of acrylic near that natural nail. I start patting it down towards the tip, making sure that the sides are nice and straight. Always, always, always wiping the sides constantly to clean it up, patting it again into place continuously. Very light pressure because, like I've said, their acrylic levels out very well on its own. Second bead goes up near the cuticle, not quite all the way up. Basically helps build up that apex. And then the third bead goes in the cuticle area. Always holding the finger in a downward position, making sure that it does not run down in the cuticle, and then lightly blend it down. And a quick little tip, if you get any bubbling or anything when it comes to clear acrylic, I always wipe down the tip of the nail with a little bit of monomer, and it helps guide that product down. I'm not quite sure what exactly causes bubbles, so do not quote me on this, but I feel like for me, if I do notice any bubbles forming, it's when the tip is really dry. So I just add a little bit of monomer onto that tip, just lightly wipe it over, and then continue to apply my acrylic. So I'm not quite sure if you caught that when I laid my first bead on that index finger. But for the most part, this acrylic does not bubble. I'll just see a little bit of cloudiness, and like I said, I add a little bit more monomer and that fixes it. So I'm just going ahead and applying the rest of the acrylic, and I'm just going to be showing you on this hand since it's basically the same thing on the other one. Once everything is nice and dry, I am going ahead and filing the nails. Because I've been so in love with using my hand file, I am starting off with my e-file. This is the Kiara Sky rechargeable e-file, and along with that, I'm using their 5-in-1 bit. It is medium grit, the color silver. And I'm just using my e-file at a speed of about 8,000 to 9,000 RPMs. It's my comfortable speed to finish file. So I'm just going around that cuticle area, making sure that the cuticle bead is nice and flush to the natural nail. You do not want that acrylic to be super bulky, specifically in that area, because it can cause snagging, which leads to lifting very early on, and you definitely want to prevent that as much as possible. Once I'm done with that, I'm going in with my hand file and filing the sides first. And then I'm going over top of the surface to file the rest of the nail. Like I said, once you get that shape down for the stiletto nail, it's so easy to do the acrylic application and the finish file because you don't have to worry about squaring off no tip. You just have to file the sides and make sure everything is nice and straight. So I'm going across the rest of the nail vertically up and down. I feel like this is a quicker process than if I file it horizontally, so definitely recommend it. It speeds up the process and you definitely save some time on that. So again, going on the sides, making sure that everything is nice and straight, and then vertically up and down the length of the nail, making sure that everything from the cuticle area down to the tip transitions very nicely and smoothly, especially when you're doing nail art. So I'm just focusing on all that smoothness. Once I'm done filing the surface and the sides of the nails, I actually go underneath the nail because these tips are straight. Sometimes I'll get acrylic up underneath and I just want to make sure everything is nice and clean. So I'm just lightly going under that nail to make sure that there's no acrylic sticking out. Once I'm done with that, I'm taking my buffer and buffing the nail very, very harshly. It's super fine, so it's not gonna hurt the client at all, but I really wanna make sure all the ridges and any little streaks left behind from the hand file is fully removed. Like I said, we're doing a ton of nail art, so I wanna make sure everything is super smooth. Once I'm done buffing the nails, I am going in with a lint-free wipe and some swipe, cleaning the surface and underneath the nail very lightly, just trying to get rid of any dust and clean it very nicely for our nail art. You can always have your client go wash their hands, but I've mentioned this before and I feel like this is a lot quicker and it prevents them from, you know, kind of taking too long while they're cleaning their nails. Now we're going to be doing a ton of nail art and I'm starting off by just mixing a little bit of a lighter pink. For this entire set, I am using the Profiles Backstage gel paints. Definitely recommend them. I am so in love. Their consistency is really, really good for gel paint. And it's been my go-to since I purchased them. So definitely recommend these. Along with that, I'm using my go-to nail art brush from Amazon. Definitely recommend that one as well. I feel like it's my OG brush and nothing will ever compare to it. Of course, you can always get a thinner one, but for me, this is the perfect shape and length. So I'm going in and doing some drips on that pinky. I just start off by doing one drip and then kind of just eyeball it across the nail and see where I want to add a little bit more. I am trying to conceal that natural nail as much as possible, so I bring a few of them down a little bit further to conceal that. Once I get done, you can't really tell that it's there, so I always try to make sure I cover it as much as possible. So I'm just going ahead gently around that cuticle area, trying to get it as clean as possible, and then just fill in any other little areas. So I'm using that light pink on the pinky, and I am doing a lot of repetitive nail art, so like I said, I'll be doing some on one hand and some on the other. So I'm doing a little bit of like starburst effect on to that same nail, so I went ahead and did that right after that. I'm trying to get everything done in one go, so any nails that I can do at the same time, I go ahead and do it and then I place it in the light. So all of this is still wet, and then I'm gonna be trying to get everything else done as well. Then I'm doing some little dots that are supposed to kind of mimic these stars in the sky. I have not yet placed it in the light, and I'm moving on to my middle finger and we're doing another drip. This one is silver glitter. This one is also from Profiles Backstage, and I'm just applying that. Like I said, I start off with one drip and then kind of move my way across the nail, kind of eyeballing it. And I love this silver gel paint. It's so pigmented, it's so sparkly, it's so pretty. I was kind of mad that you can't really see it when I was recording. That's the only reason why I get so mad about like shiny nails, because with the light, it kind of just, it gets me mad. So I'm just going ahead and finishing that off. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start doing little dots again. Now I did want to mention this is a picture she brought in from another nail tech, so I'm gonna insert it somewhere here. I'm gonna have my husband insert it. I did change a few of the things. We did change the colors up a little bit because that's what my client wanted. So just to give you guys a little bit of insight, this is not my design. I am just recreating it for my client. Now I'm moving on to the other hand, and I'm going to be doing some of the same nails. We're starting off with the silver one and doing those drips on the pinky, and I think we change them out and do the pink on the index finger. So they're all kind of mixed match nails. I'm just gonna go ahead and let you guys watch that. The other hand is currently in the light, so I like to switch hands as I need to and try to use my time as efficiently as possible. Now for this light pink drip, in the photo it did look like they kind of marbleized a little bit of other colors to give it a little bit of depth and more of like a galaxy feel. So I'm going ahead and just taking a little bit of purple and a little bit of more pink and kind of just dragging it in there, trying to blend it in there, like not really giving it too much shape or anything like that. I'm honestly just adding a little bit of color in there to make it pop a little bit more. I try to recreate designs as best as possible, and so I try to really pay attention to these small details in the pictures. And then of course I run it by my client and ask them, hey, I see this in the photo, are you okay with that? And depending on what they say, I either recreate it down to the T or I change it up. And for example, this specific set, like I said, we changed out a few colors, and I did change out and add a little bit more to the design just to her liking and to my liking. So you guys will be able to see that throughout. And then again, popping that in the light, and then I'm moving on to the other finger. So I'm taking a darker pink and outlining that drip. I'm starting off with a shade slightly darker than the one I just painted on there. And then I'm taking the full raw pink color that comes in the pot and just outlining a little bit of areas to give it a little bit more depth. Now for the silver glitter, in the original picture was more of a mint green, definitely more on the blue side, and she wanted me to do a little bit on the greener side, more neon green. So I went ahead and mixed one of my brighter green gel polishes with a little bit of white just to pop a little bit more, and I'm applying that around, just outlining that drip. Now I am adding a few planets on some of the nails, and to do this, all I did was grabbed a light purple, some pink, some darker purples, some white, some yellow, and I honestly just swirled them trying to make a perfect circle, and then I just infilled any little areas. So I'm honestly just grabbing a bunch of different colors and applying it on there. And then I'm doing a more yellow toned one underneath, and I added pink to this one to give it a little bit of an orange color as well to deepen that up, and some white, again just swirling it on there, kind of trying to make it look super dimensional. Now I'm doing more little details before I go in and cure that in the light. Now I'm placing that in the light and switching over to the opposite hand, and we're going to be doing a few more planets, just different color combinations. For this one I used a little bit of blue, a little bit of that lime green, some white, and some purple. And I thought it looked so cute. I feel like all the colors are super pastel, and I'm pretty sure at the end she was like, they look so cotton candy like. And I was like, yeah, they actually do. So she really liked the color combinations. And then again, another one at the bottom, I'm adding a little bit more pink just to make them all look slightly different. Now we're going back in the light and switching to the opposite hand that is already cured. I'm going around the planet with the silver glitter just to outline it a little bit, give it more of that girly touch as shown in the photo. And then I'm going in and doing the second planet, and I'm also doing the ring around the planet in white before I cure it. I felt like it wasn't going to affect that glitter much if I did it all in one go. So I went ahead and drew it and then went ahead and placed it in the light. Now for the index finger and one of the other fingers on the other hand, they did kind of like a melted marbleized gel paint like swirly thing, and I was kind of like, how am I gonna go about this? And my client was like, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to mimic like the galaxy, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I kind of just went with it. I added some light pink and some purple and then a little bit of other colors to deepen it up. I'm just lightly dabbing it on there, and then I start swirling everything together. I honestly probably could have used the Blossom Gel from Not Polished to do this, and it would have looked a little bit better, but I didn't think in that moment. And like I said, she didn't mind how it looked on the photo. And like I said, I try to make it as close as possible. So I honestly just swirled them on there, drag them down, and then I'm going in with the silver glitter and outlining it as shown in the photo. And I feel like this color combo definitely ties in more with the look anyways. Now for the thumb, of course it wasn't shown in the picture, so we decided to just add a little bit more planets and a little bit more stars to tie it all together. And so I'm just adding that very quickly at the end and then placing that in the light right afterwards. And then I did go ahead and finish off the rest of the details. I just added more outlines and more little stars here and there. And I'm going in and top coating once everything is fully cured. And I am using Gloss It from Not Polished. She wanted shiny, If it was my personal design, I definitely would have done matte just to bring everything out. It's really hard to get all the details with shiny, and that's the only reason. I love shiny in person, but when it comes to recording and getting a final photo, you get all those shine glares that really get me so irritated because it doesn't let the design show perfectly. So I'm going in with Gloss It. I love how this set turned out. They're super cute. She loved them. So I got really excited. Now once we are out of the light, I did cure it for 2 minutes. I'm going in with the Cuticle oil from Profiles Backstage. That smells so good and it melts right into your skin. Definitely love it. And I'm just lightly wiping underneath the nail to get any excess dust out for my picture. That basically concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.